Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Okay, unnecessary to moan in the beginning here. Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron. This is episode... What episode is it? Oh, now the moaning makes sense. 269.
Girl, you fine. Ooh!
Okay, all right.
Remember that classic line?
Yeah, it is.
From Big Mama House?
Yeah, who doesn't love Big Mama's House? A Martin Lawrence classic.
Well, pardon the interruption, but I'm Aaron Bauer, and I'm in the building.
Yes,
I'm in the
are.
house.
Yes.
I'm in Big Mama House.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, what? I don't know if that makes sense. Is there a Big Mama here that I don't know about?
Well, we'll have to find out. There's going to be a surprise later on in the show.
Oh, don't disappoint the people.
Hey,
but,
beep the beep, beep the beep, beep, beep. I got breaking news.
That's almost sounded like the Nickelodeon thing, but you don't even know
Beep,
about
beep,
that.
beep,
So.
beep, beep, beep.
Okay, you do know. All right.
Dude, I knew Nickelodeon before you were even alive.
Okay, what do you got? Breaking news, you piece of shit.
Our on-the-scene reporter, Eric,
Okay.
has just sent me a news update.
Okay.
He said he would like to make sure that you have orange juice and a cookie for donating so much blood over the weekend.
All right. Well, you know, I
Also wants to know if the microphones are both on.
Microphones are on, and I did, I guess you could say I did donate a lot of blood to the industry. We are going to talk about that today, my weekend in pro wrestling, which I'm, you know, I think it's going to rank pretty up high there when I call it a day. I think I was living in the moment. I appreciated it, and we are going to talk about it.
Dying in the moment.
Well, you know, I did spend a little time in the hospital after Saturday night, but
Now, did you stay in a hospital or a local medical facility?
well, it depends on who's listening to the podcast. I hope Vince McMahon is not an avid listener. Because
I hope he is.
We've been burying him for a while here, and if he was, he wasn't making any changes to the product in the last 5 years before he was let go. I had a big show in Buffalo at Empire State Wrestling. I'm going to talk about, and of course, it was the end of 440 in a brutal death match that I was involved with, and we're going to talk about all that plus your questions from Patreon, first and foremost, patreon.com/irononwrestling, where you get a buttload of bonus content starting at $3. Audio in the archives, extended episodes. All the episodes are early if you're on the Patreon, so you get them a day early. A bunch of just extra episodes that we did for you guys. There's over 1,000 extra posts over there. $5, you get video. $9, you get involved in the exclusive live chat that we do with you guys once a month, and we talk about stuff that you'll never hear on the show. And of course, if you're in the $25 and up tier or the $29 and up tier, you're going to get something in the mail from Howard Animal Steel. And we got something real special for you coming for Christmas time. You are going to love this. You're going to want this. And
You're going to need this.
I'm so sorry if you haven't been at the $25 tier for at least 2 months. You ain't getting it. So, and usually you got to be 3 months. So we're only doing 2 months if you want something special for Christmas. So you got to sign up for this month and next month if you want to receive it. And you better do it quick because I'm going to be putting in these orders for this item. And if you don't do it, you're going to miss out. So patreon.com/ironwrestling. Best way to support the podcast. Of course, subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening to the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. all that good stuff. Give us a 5-star review wherever you download the podcast. It creates visibility for this show. And we're also going to talk about some stuff today that we missed out on the last couple weeks since Aaron and I couldn't record last week. I did drop an episode by myself just to get something out there.
I was getting a lot of messages asking if I was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what you posted, what the reason you gave.
I just said that, I had come back from Washington, and I didn't even mention that I had car issues, which was a thing, and I was just beat and wasn't able to come.
Yeah, so it was all Greg's fault.
And
I was ready to roll, man. I had all my Survivor Series predictions ready. I had my Monday Night Raw predictions. I had my Friday Night SmackDowns. I had my full gear.
Uh-huh.
I had my Cleveland Cavaliers pick. I had my Thursday Night Football ready. I had the Ohio State foosball game ready.
Well, there's still some stuff from the last couple weeks that we can talk about. Some of that we're going to do on Patreon. So we're going to be talking about full gear in depth on Patreon. We're also.
I got a guess as to who the fifth man's going to be too. So
for what?
Survivor Series.
They already announced it.
What?
They announced it on Friday at CM Punk.
Man.
And Survivor Series is Saturday, so we're going to be previewing Survivor Series. But I'm also
CM Punk. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm also going to drop some 440 and some deathmatch, the past deathmatch from Ruthless Pro Wrestling this Saturday, knowledge that I'm not going to talk about here on the regular version of the show. So if you want to get all the inside scoops, the extra content, patreon.com/Iron Wrestling is the way to go. And where do you want to begin, man? It's been 2 weeks. I haven't seen you. What do you want to talk about?
I think it'd be cool if we just ended the podcast now.
Like the show in its entirety?
No. That would be completely insane.
Oh, okay.
I think we just end the episode. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. We love you, and we'll just give you a kiss goodbye.
No, stop it. No.
No?
Again, it's not.
All right, well, then let's start with... I know.
What?
I was going to save this for last, but I don't think I can wait.
Okay.
Let's start off hot.
Sure.
AEW Full Gear pre-show.
Yeah, okay. That's where you want to start, huh?
Yeah. One match in particular. Mm-hmm. Care to
was it the tag?
Take a guess?
It was the tag match on the pre-show.
What tag match?
I don't know what tag match.
Oh, yeah, there was a 4-way. No, that was on the show. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But I do know that the real main event of the whole show was this guy named AJ and the Rizzler and Dick Justice.
Now Big Justice.
Big Dick Justice.
Big Justice.
And they went against QT Marshall and his crew from QTV.
Was it his crew?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
I think he has like a Team Taz that comes out for him. They called it security detail though, so I'm not sure.
But
I like QT Marshall's look.
He looks great.
He's in the best shape of his life. He's got a really good tan, like an actual tan, not some spray shit.
Yeah. There's definitely a distinct difference.
Yeah. The cape.
I love the cape.
Yeah,
Very Macho Man-esque.
Yeah, I just I might not have Doom all over it.
Yeah, whatever. I get the Doom thing. He dropped that diss track before the match leading up to it. Here's my thing. Before we talk about the match, I do feel like that. Listen, Johnny has been torturing me with videos and clips of Big Boom AJ and Big Justice and the Rizzler especially. Tell me how they're much better than I am, they're much more popular than I am, and how that makes me feel. And I've notoriously trash talked them on this show. Okay, I will say this though.
I hope you eat your and I hope they're good enough for 5 booms.
Don't
boom,
even do it.
Boom. No?
No.
Okay. I'll save it for later.
Okay. Don't even say it.
When you spend the night tonight, I'm going to be in bed going boom.
I'm not.
Boom.
Oh, I don't. Is that what you're going to be saying, or is that something else that you wanted? You know what? We're just
Don't fall asleep.
Well, that's you. It's 2024, brother. You're going to get canceled. I watched last Wednesday's Dynamite, okay? And I watched it because I wanted to see live what they were going to do with Big Boom AJ, the goddamn Rizzler, and Big Justice. Because here's my thing. Despite my lack of interest in them, they are incredibly popular. And the fact that they waited until the week of the show to put them on the show is kind of crazy to me. And then it got even crazier when I saw, I don't know if it's changed since, I think it was by Thursday night. So the next day, 24 hours later, that video clip of Big Boom AJ and Big Justice backstage with Renee had 10.3 million views. 10.3 million views, okay? And when I saw that, I was
that
like...
has to be AEW's biggest video of the year, right? Clip of the year?
So from what I saw, for pro wrestling this year, it was the second... It was either the second or the third most viewed video in all of wrestling for 2024, with the first being Joe Hendry showing up in NXT. That's number one.
That's wild, too.
That's number one. Actually, I might have saved it. Hold on, let me look here.
I think it's The Undertaker.
Yes.
The Undertaker showing up at Mania?
Yes.
To chokeslam The Rock? Was that what it was?
So that's the top three videos. So you got Joe Hendry, The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and fucking the announcement that the Rizzler is going to be the special bell ringer, the timekeeper for this match. And so when I saw that, I had already thought this, but I thought to myself, like, how are they not utilizing these guys more on the show? Because, like, listen, that's not the AEW fan base, right? This particular audience. But also, guess what? The goal is to try to expand your audience. And that's been quite the struggle for AEW for a little bit.
As a matter of fact, they've been going in the opposite direction. I've been seeing something like 500 and 600,000 views on their show.
And listen.
And then we're talking 10 million in the clip that was online.
And I watched that whole show, and I think it was in Reading, Pennsylvania, which I've wrestled in Reading.
Me too.
Nice. Did you? For who?
Steve Carino.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. So I did a lot of Chikara stuff there. And so the crowd, dead. The biggest pop of the night was a backstage promo announcing that a 7-year-old child that rubs his chin and eats food on TikTok was going to be the timekeeper. So what does that say? And, like, how are we not utilizing that a little bit more? Now, to be fair, they were on Jimmy Fallon, but I don't think that they just happened to plug AEW. I don't think it was like, let's get these guys because they're wrestling. Like, I think it might have been a thing that AJ was like...
It was like an afterthought.
Yeah, like AJ was like, I kind of want to plug this, you know? Like, I mean, because the dude was a wrestler for 5 years from, like, 99 to 2004, and then he
made the top 500 this year, right?
That's not true. That I was being worked. Johnny Gargano tricked me into being angered.
So good.
I don't like that, but so...
You were almost as angry as you were when you wanted to get home to watch Santa with Muscles when we were signing things for the underprivileged children.
I was hungry, and yes, I had made a commitment to watch Santa with Muscles by myself, okay? But that's not the subject we're talking about right now. I watched this pre-show match, and I got to say, you know what? It was very basic to start. But by the end, they were doing a couple things that I was like, I'm kind of shocked for a guy that has not been a consistent performer for about 20 years. And according to Cage Match, and we all know, you know, how correct Cage Match is, I think Lifetime, it said he probably had like 40 or 50-ish matches. All things considered, this was a very good match. And according to Fightful, it's coming out that this dude... Big Boom AJ had a broken foot.
Yeah.
In the match.
Wow.
Which I couldn't. He was
broke
bumping
it before the match, or
so originally the report was that he broke it during the match and finished. But then Fightful followed up saying, like, no, he had broke it before and hit it and still did the match. And of course Gargano was texting me all about this today, and he was texting me the whole weekend. I want to read some of the texts that he sent
I
me.
know the WWE guys are texting you about this AEW thing.
No, it's not specifically that it's an AEW thing.
Well,
I think
it's
now
just
it's the
Cookie
fact
Guy.
that he wants to rub it in my face that these people are more popular.
And I thought about doing that too, but you look like you were bloody as hell, so I didn't want to go that step.
So he texted me at 6:34 p.m. on Saturday. So this is about to be when the match is happening with the Rizzler. And he said, "You watching the?" In all capital letters, boom. I said, "No, I'm about to do a death match." And he said, "Who do you think you are, Big Justice?" And then after the match, he followed up with a text that said, "Blew the roof off the place." And then I sent him pics of me covered in blood. And then he responded, "Real gross." And then he said, "Big Boom AJ didn't have to blade to get over, brother."
Man, I thought the same thing.
I said, I didn't blade. And then he said, "Hannah, my girlfriend, gonna be upset." I said, "She isn't." He said, "She told me you're sleeping on the couch." And I said, "I always sleep on the couch," which I do, in fact, always sleep on my couch because I have a nice entertainment stand and a heater, and I like the warm air from the heater, and I'm weird like that. But he made sure to also send me a pic immediately after that some fan made that said they took 2 action figures and recreated the Big Show walking the Rizzler to the ring.
Oh.
And it says the Rizzler is #AllElite. Tell me if you can recognize whose head sculpt they used for the Rizzler. So here's the Big Show. Okay, it's a toy of the Big Show from around the time, and it's a WWE Big Show figure, but they painted it to look like Captain Insano. And then he's holding the hand of what is supposed to be the Rizzler. Whose face is that they use for the Rizzler? It's Jim Ross's face on a small child.
So good though.
It looks
I
like,
love it.
It looks like they took JR's head and put it on a Hornswoggle body and then put a Rizzler T-shirt on it, and it's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
How you get a little Rizzler T-shirt like that? Is it just a black T-shirt and then they superimposed?
You would take the black T-shirt and then you would print out the actual graphic and then you would paste it onto the shirt.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's great.
And he said, "You should buy a Rizzler figure." I didn't respond to that. He sent me a tweet of Big Boom AJ in a My Sacrifice video with clips from the match. And my response was,
that must have got you heated because you love Creed.
My response was, "Look, man, the match was fine." I said, "But the Rizzler is like a trained monkey." Okay, every time. First of all, he probably got the biggest pop on the pay-per-view.
Motherfucker, he's 7.
I don't care. I don't care.
This is what a hater looks like right here.
Every time they put the camera on this kid,
yeah, he did a spot.
He immediately is rubbing his chin, doing the finger on the face, and his fucking jawline.
Well, that's what he knows. That's what he does. That's his gimmick.
It's just it's crazy. What did you think of this match overall? What was the standout moments to you?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I hated saying this, but when the pay-per-view ended, I went, "Well, that was my favorite match." And it was on the pre-show.
Oh, boy.
And not that the other matches were bad. It just stood out. It was different. There was nothing wrong with it. There wasn't a time where I was like, "Oh, okay, here's what I say. The first lockup was shitty."
Yeah.
Okay? And then after that, it was like we were good to go.
So,
your boy's spear was fine. Dick Justice kid.
Big Justice.
I
listen. I popped for the spear. It was a pretty good spear.
I thought
for
that's a spot I would do.
What is he? A fucking 12-year-old kid? Like
Who knows?
It was a good spot. Honestly, I was shocked that Big Boom AJ did a superplex.
Yeah,
and it was
me
pretty
too.
perfect.
It was great.
It was pretty perfect. And like if I had to be critical of anything. His bumps looked a little weird, but then if you consider that if he actually had a broken foot, maybe that kind of added to it. Like maybe he was being cautious about his foot, but in general.
And also, he hadn't worked in how many years?
At this point, I think it's been 4.
Yeah.
4 years. He's done a couple appearances since then, but just not a full match. So here's what I'll say. I think if they were open to it and the price was right, and I mean, I guess the price doesn't matter with Tony Khan. I don't know why you wouldn't utilize these guys on a regular basis. I mean, it really seemed like their social media was more on fire with the Rizzler stuff this past week, and I saw more of their stuff on social media because of the Rizzler and Big Boom AJ and Big Justice than I normally see AEW stuff. I think they're making a mistake if they don't do something with them more often, and also I think it was a mistake that they didn't put this on the pay-per-view because honestly, if I couldn't have got the show from someone else and watched it, I might have considered paying for it so I could hate watch Big Boom AJ and the Rizzler, and I would have been impressed. But listen, there's some more stuff we want to talk about. We're going to go to commercial break. When we come back.
Now, did he pay for my sacrifice?
I don't
for
think
the Big Boom AJ?
No, I don't think he did. But if he broke his foot during the match, I can maybe expect perhaps a YouTube Beautiful Day video package for the comeback.
When he comes back in a year.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. So, yeah, we're going to pay some bills when we come back. We are going to talk about my weekend in wrestling at ESW, my big accomplishment there, Ruthless Pro Wrestling, the absolute bloodbath that I was a part of in my overall condition. And
I heard it was called Ruthless Pro Wrestling, but I think you should have called it Roofless Pro Wrestling because you guys blew the roof off that place.
Oh, stop it. You didn't even see the match, so you don't know. And we're going to answer some of your questions from Patreon and social media.
I'm still pulling glass out of your ass over here while we're doing this podcast.
No glass in my ass, only thumbtacks. Oh. All right. When we come back, more Iron on Wrestling.
Man,
what? Huh?
No, I was just going to tell you, I was just looking over my TikTok account, and I was seeing how huge that Big Boom AJ was.
Okay.
And I wonder what he's doing, to look that way. And my guess would be, I'd have to talk to our buddy Mike from TNT Health to find out what he thinks Big Boom AJ's doing, so that way I could look like Big Boom AJ, and you can end up looking like the Rizzler.
Well,
with the Riz face.
No.
Can you do the Riz face good?
I
saw you doing a lot of the mannerisms.
I'm a master of it. Actually,
Okay.
I've been studying the Rizzler's every move because I'm gonna be the one that takes him down. Okay, he's not gonna know when or where.
Better watch out for the show. No more BS or whatever.
Okay. Anyways, I think if Big Boom AJ was smart, he'd be going over to TNT-health.com and trying the Zoom pre-workout that they have over there. And I think he would give the Zoom 5 big booms. But I mean, we'll never know unless
boom. How
do you got to do it?
No,
it's bad enough that we're always using these guys to plug this. The Zoom pre-workout is really great. I really enjoyed that. I've used that at TNT Health, but I've also used, of course, on a regular basis, their creatine, their glutamine for my pre and my post-workout, their organic vanilla protein powder that I mix with my water, and it mixes perfectly. I've never had another protein water that mixed so good in just regular old water. Usually I got to go buy milk, and that's an inconvenience. And also, listen, Mike's always checking up on me with my macros and keeping me up to date on what I should and shouldn't be doing and eating, and he's going above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to my health and wellness journey. I mean, I know you can say the same, Aaron.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I'm on a break right now. So.
Okay, taking a little break ski, and that's okay too, because
that's Mike told me to do that, and how many people do you find that are like, hey, don't buy product from me right now?
Yeah, don't. I swear to God, don't give me your money.
Yeah,
don't do it.
But this guy is like that. I mean, he's right on the money with everything he's been telling me, so I'm going to follow his orders.
He's not selling you supplements. He's selling you results. And if you want to start getting results, you got to talk to Mike, and you got to check out TNT-health.com. And if you use our promo code IRONON, IRONON, you will save 10% on everything you buy. So do yourself a favor. Start your health and wellness journey. If you're already on it, start doing it along with Mike and the good folks at TNT Health. And do it now, because at TNT Health, it's about your health today, not tomorrow.
Speaking of tomorrow,
today
I have an idea.
What is
that I'd like to give for a design. Now, I don't know if this is a shirt or maybe a pair of shorts or a new flag. Maybe a new flag to hang outside.
Okay.
To blow in the wind. But
yeah,
if you got a guy, let me know. I need this done ASAP. I want 2 clouds on this flag that will blow in the wind.
Boy, what an original concept. 2 clouds. Okay.
Your face is an original concept.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. And it's me and a woman's football player.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're up there and we're playing hockey.
That doesn't make sense, but okay.
Don't worry about my business.
All right.
And so there we are, and we're eating protein bars.
Okay.
and we're hanging out, talking all night, stargazing, if you will.
Sounds very intimate.
Yeah. So, do you know of anyone that could possibly hook that up so I could get like a flag or a hat,
Well, I'd probably
a
have
sticker,
to.
a bumper sticker?
I'd have to go to my main man, Juan Ortiz, and of the Dead Designs, because I mean he's been doing it for like 20 years.
The guy from Weebly?
He does have a Weebly. I don't know if he's
Oh,
exclusively
yeah.
from Weebly.
How do I always forget?
He's from the Oakland, California area. Actually.
Oaktown!
So, Juan Ortiz has done designs for some of the most prolific people in all of professional wrestling. And many of the champions that you see on your television today, whether it be WWE, NXT, AEW, New Japan, TNA, and beyond. He's done so many designs for so many folks. His designs have appeared on action figures and
Maxim magazine cover, ain't it?
I don't think that's true.
Oh.
Is it
Mad
true?
magazine?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I'm really making him seem like a jobber right now because you're naming all these things that he hasn't done anything for. But he has had his stuff in Hot Topic,
That's better.
on WWE Shop.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You know who's a hot topic?
Who's that?
Juan of the Ortiz.
He is, and he's a hot commodity as well because everybody wants a design from Juan, but they're like, man,
Hot
I don't
piece
know,
of ass.
I don't know if I could afford this with the holidays coming up. Well, guess what? You can, and you know what? You know what a great gift is? Maybe a logo for your friend's small business that he's starting up, or just some sort of design to pay some love and respect to a friend, family member, loved one. Maybe something for yourself that you want to hang up in your man cave or your living room or your kitchen, some sort of kitchen art, but it has to have like a food related item because in my kitchen, I only hang up food related items. Like, for example, if it was like a stuffed bear in sunglasses eating a cheeseburger at the beach, that goes up in your kitchen.
I don't think that ever got recorded, did it?
I have talked about this on the show, and
Okay.
it is a one-of-one piece of art that I bought from someone, but you could recreate that design through Juan Ortiz and Of the Dead Design. So what are you waiting for? Recreate that epic design for your kitchen or get another drawing of some sort by contacting Juan Ortiz right now. You're going to do it, and you're going to save $20 by mentioning Iron on Wrestling. So go to his Instagram at Of the Dead Designs. Go to his Facebook at facebook.com/ofthedeaddesigns, or go to his website ofthedead.weebly.com because Of the Dead Designs is bringing artwork to life. All right, man. Let's talk about my weekend because
Were you going to talk about your what?
my weekend.
Oh,
What did you think I said?
I thought you were going somewhere else. You said your wee, and I thought we were going to talk about your weenus. Your wiener.
Okay.
Your own little Whizzler.
I don't like that nickname.
Remember that time you broke it?
I don't know. That's not funny. Every time I get crotch now, I worry that my dick is going to be bleeding.
Yeah.
And you think that's hilarious.
Yeah. I would worry about it every time I peed or maybe had any type of ejaculation, whether it was with another person or solo.
With Solo,
Yeah.
bloodline, literally. A line of blood just coming out of
A
your...
line of blood.
Okay. So anyways, my weekend consisted of this past Friday attending Empire State Wrestling Wrestle Bash in Buffalo, New York at the Riverworks building, which is an incredible venue that they do a wide variety of concerts in, and I always love wrestling there. And this year I was in, once again, second year in a row, actually third year in a row, but second time that I actually won the whole damn thing, the DiPaolo Cup. It was a six-person scramble. DiPaolo.
Okay.
Elio DiPaolo. He's a famous pro wrestler from back in the day, and he had a restaurant famous in the Buffalo area. Actually, they used to do a little, not a tournament, but not a charity show, tribute show for him in WCW back in the day, if you look that up. So pretty big deal. And you can see some of those cards if you can look on the internet from WCW. But yes, W has been doing this since, I think, 2013. And, of course, the first winner was Trent. There's been a couple guys that have won 2 cups over the years, but no one, until me, has won the cup back to back, baby. So
How'd you do it?
well, I I was gonna make a joke that I'm not gonna make, but I did it by being the hardest working individual and pinning the final combatant to the mat to win. But I'm gonna talk about that here in a second. It was a 6-way scramble match. It was kind of like a gauntlet type Royal Rumble deal with the scramble. It featured myself, Madman Fulton of WWE and TNA fame.
Dude, I just saw a picture of him and Hardcore Holly from like a mega show a year or two ago.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
Awesome.
Jeremiah Richter was in the match.
Hey, that guy, I know him. He follows us, right? I think he's a listener to the show. He friended me on maybe the Insta.
When he's not trying to beat me up, he seems like a nice fella, for sure. And, of course, we had Channing Decker in the match. And
yeah. I've heard good stuff.
Gavin Glass, who won the Battle Royal earlier in the show to qualify for this match.
He's really quick on his feet, right?
Yeah, you've seen Gavin Glass. You've done commentary for him back for the PCW. And the final combatant, someone that I know is near and dear to your heart, fabulous, John McChesney.
Never really cared much for him.
Really? Is that so?
Wow. So, a bunch of dudes that I have a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
And then there was fabulous.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding. But John McChesney is definitely the guy that brought home hookers with me one time.
Okay. What?
Well, we didn't know they were hookers.
All right.
We thought we were on a date. We didn't know we had to pay them.
That seems like a common misconception, I feel.
When they kept holding out their hands.
Yeah.
Asking for money. We were like, what are these chicks doing?
Yeah, well, you were young.
Yeah.
You didn't know the hooker game yet.
Yeah, it was just in my 30s.
This was actually the first time I ever got to wrestle John McChesney, which is crazy. And
wow.
John has always been, I feel, very underrated. And he was a big deal on the indies when I was breaking in. In fact, the second show I ever went to, he was in the main event. It was him, J-Rock, Sterling James Keenan, who's now Corey Graves, and they all were wrestling in a four-way match against the phenomenal AJ Styles. And this was at the West Park Party Center in Cleveland, Ohio. And again, I'd been following his career up to that point because I've been watching indies, and I knew he was doing stuff for like TNA, and I don't know, man.
Did you know who was driving him there?
Who?
It was me.
Wow, what?
Smoking a pound of weed.
Okay.
Getting chased by the cops.
What?
I didn't have a license.
On a regular basis?
Pretty much.
Okay. It seems like you guys were having a fun time. Why did you guys...
hookers, smoking weed, avoiding the law.
I feel like you might have been a bad influence on him. Maybe that's why you guys stopped traveling together?
Yeah. Well, I think he was the bad influence on me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, this was our first time wrestling together, and, the match ended up coming down to me and John. And I got to say, while I did come up on the winning end, and he did not, I would love to give John McChesney another chance against me in a one-on-one match. And, man, I honestly, I was shocked that I pulled this one out and got that victory, and the crowd loved it. And, I got to the point, Aaron, which I'm pretty happy about, that because I've been coming out for about 2 years now, Higher by the band Creed, which, by the way, I did want to go see because they were in town in Cleveland, but so I was very upset that this show was booked on the same night as Creed. But, I took my wrestling booking. The whole crowd now, when it gets to the chorus, they sing Higher with me, and it's a beautiful thing. It's something that I've wanted my entire career, but who knew that the song that would do that was right under my nose this whole time. And so, yeah, I got to take home that trophy again for the second year in a row. And I think the next stop for me, I could be jumping the gun a little bit, but that trophy allows me the opportunity to cash it in at any point for an ESW championship opportunity. And I'd like to think that, I've been in Empire State Wrestling for 10 years. And I started out essentially as just kind of a ride-along with Johnny Gargano. First match was against RJ City.
It's kind of your whole life, isn't it?
Shut up. And, of course, later down the line, I think I came to the most prominence in ESW by partnering with RJ City. And
that's the place where you guys died?
We died
Okay.
and came back. And I think that's when I truly became a beloved individual in the Buffalo territory. And I think... it doesn't happen very often but ESW is near and dear to my heart, and I feel like if the opportunity presents itself, I would like to become a good representation for Empire State Wrestling sometime in the next year. What are your thoughts on the company being so desperate that I won their cup 2 years in a row?
Well, they probably thought if anybody deserves to win a cup and needs it, it's Gregory Iron to protect his manhood.
Okay, no,
from when he breaks his penis.
It's a trophy. It's not like a physical
it's not a
cup.
jockstrap?
No, it's not like what Aldo Montoya wore on his face.
Huh.
A golden cup,
everything.
like
Yeah,
a Stanley
know.
Cup.
Yeah. Congratulations to them on putting their faith in you.
Well, they could put their faith in nothing, but
Who would do that?
Okay, yeah, only a couple people got that reference. It was a good time, and you know what? There was like 600 people in attendance in that crowd. I fucking love wrestling in Buffalo. It's one of those places where, if I ever had to say goodbye to wrestling, if it wasn't one of the last stops on the tour, it might be the last stop because they've just been so kind to me over the years, and just I don't know. It's one of those places that is like I don't want to say a second home, but it is like a home because I have many homes throughout the world because of professional wrestling.
I think that's a great way to transition to. If you're an independent wrestling promotion, you should book Gregory Iron for his retirement tour.
I mean, it's not happening anytime soon, I don't think.
No, they would just tell you, okay, we're Empire State Wrestling, and Greg, we're booking you for your retirement match with us next month.
Okay.
And then, you could just make the loop that way. And then finally you could be done with all this bullshit.
Or if you've never booked me and you just want to, like, this is a one and done and I'm never going to come back, you could book it technically as the last time I'm ever appearing in this promotion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a good way for me to make a few bucks, and you book me once and then never again. That'd be nice.
Book me once, shame on you. Book me twice, shame. Hey, do you remember King Mabel challenging Diesel for the WWF Championship?
Who could forget that terrible match at SummerSlam 1995?
Do you remember the promo leading up to it?
Refresh my memory.
He said, Diesel, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me again. Oh, you can't fool me.
Okay.
It went off
work
the
at
rail.
all.
Yeah, I like it.
Before I talk about...
But, hey, that guy was a big fan of yours. So.
Well, I only know that because of John McChesney.
Exactly.
Because
That's how we do the weave.
John wrote me in 2007 when he did some extra work to tell me Big Daddy V says he's a big fan. And I was like, what? And it was a real thing. But before we move on to Saturday night, which was a completely different situation for me wrestling-wise, talk to me about how good John McChesney has been consistently over the years. Because, again, I think like he was a big name in the early 2000s indies, and the fact that he's still doing it at a pretty high level, I think, is pretty commendable.
Well, he was kind of self-taught, too, and that was always something that I admired. I mean, I know he credits J-Rock as being his trainer, I believe.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of times where he was just getting in there and doing things.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys didn't want to work with him at first because they were like, oh, here's some untrained asshole.
Yeah.
But the dude was already way better than those guys who were saying it.
Sure.
So, always stellar, always put in 100% for the fans. He loves that reaction. He works off of them. And good dude, man. Somebody I would book to be my champion, probably. I would have probably had him win the cup.
Do you have...
way better than the guy that won it.
All right. Do you have a standout, like, John McChesney moment or match as far as, like, things that people would have seen or maybe could see on YouTube?
I don't know why, but there was one time he wrestled Arrow and in Mega Championship Wrestling in a blow-off of their feud or something.
Oh, so no one will ever see this match because it probably didn't get recorded or put on DVD ever. But go on.
Hey, you're going to get a strongly worded email.
I'm just saying. I love Trexler. I'm just saying. We all know that your home video releases were not well back in the day.
So
put that footage out there so people could see it, Jeff.
I think that's in Brandon X's hands now.
Brandon X.
I had that match on tape somewhere. I think I gave
Aaron Bauer.
I gave everything I had to Brandon X. So They were wrestling in some match, and they were brawling outside the ring, and ended up going outside the arena and came back in and were throwing snowballs at each other.
What?
Yeah, it was great.
That's a great spot, actually.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, they went outside, and so everybody was like, hey, what's going on out there? And they brawled outside, and as they came back in, they were hurling snowballs at each other. Perfectly padded and made snowballs.
I'm surprised the fans didn't follow them out of the building.
No, they did.
Oh,
That's
okay,
why they had
okay.
to come back in with snowballs. You couldn't go out there and
I
then just take a breather.
I gotcha.
No, these guys knew what they were doing.
Okay. Well, good times. Well, like I said,
Arrow, I managed him before, too. There's somebody who I thought had a good future if he wanted it, but I think he's like a fucking carpenter or something now.
Carpenter,
Yeah.
like Jesus.
Yes. I always thought, Arrow, you're very Jesus-like.
Yeah, but hey, John, there's a shout out to you, man. If you ever want to have a one-on-one match at ESW, if you want to try to beat me for that cup, I'm opening the door for you to come back and do a singles match with me. So,
And John, if you ever want to go pick up hookers again,
okay,
I'm more than willing to.
I'm hoping that you're in a better place in your life, that you're not paying for prostitutes, McChesney. That would not be so fabulous.
John McChesney.
Yes, John McChesney. But all right, let's talk about what everybody is talking about in independent wrestling this weekend. A lot of
Hey,
people
one
watched
time, there was a club in Cleveland. It was called Club Moda, and it was really big for a while. Like LeBron James was going there,
LeBron
Jay-Z,
James.
Beyonce.
Okay.
So, the owner of the club would come into Penn Station I worked at,
Okay.
and he told me one day, "You look like a dude who likes to go to clubs and stuff." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right, well, let me give you free tickets," because it was like $20 to get into his club.
Oh wow.
Which was a lot back in 2003.
Sure.
So he says, I'll come back with passes for you. So he comes back the next time I was working. He gave me passes.
Okay.
Gave me 3 passes. So me, Brandon X, and John McChesney were going to go to this club.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, what day you want to come up so I know to look for you? And I go, we have to go on a Thursday night, because that was when McChesney was getting in town, and then we were going to go do some loop on Friday, Saturday, Sunday for wrestling. Mm-hmm. So Thursday night, he goes, "Oh, anything but Thursday. Bro, you probably don't want to be there on Thursday." And I go, "That's the only day we got."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Just see if you can delay it. Come in on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday." I was like, "Okay, sure." So I took the tickets. McChesney gets to town. Me, him, and Brandon X go, "Well, it's Thursday. We're going to go out. We're going to go to this club in Cleveland."
Yeah.
We went downtown Cleveland. We're all dressed up. We get in. We hit the bar. Now, we have VIP access because of these tickets that this guy gave us. So we're up, and like, I smoked cigarettes at the time. And so there was, like, as soon as I pulled out a cigarette, there was a guy who would run from around the corner and light your cigarette for you.
What the fuck?
Dude, it was big business. And there was, like, stars and shit there.
Did you just start purposely pulling out cigarettes?
Yeah.
'Cause that's what I would do. I'm like, here's 3 cigarettes. Oh, no.
Like, here, McChesney, pull this one out. Brandon X.
Good God.
So we're drinking, and we go to drink, and we're like, "What's on special?" And it was like apple teenies were the special that night. Like, that's weird, like an apple teeny. That doesn't sound like a cool drink. But
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. And then look over, and McChesney goes, "Sure are a lot of dudes here tonight." And Brandon X goes, "Yeah, man, but the fucking drinks are free. Let's just drink."
Yeah.
So he's sitting at the bar drinking. We look around a little bit, and Brandon X goes, "Look over there, man. Those 2 dudes are like really close to each other. Are you uncomfortable with that?" I go, "Yeah, kind of." And so McChesney goes, "Yeah, look over that way. Those two dudes are making out, just right out in the open." And they go, "Oh, well, the bartender's making out with the other bartender now."
What?
And then we started looking around, and I go, "Oh." And I looked up at the sign, and there's a sign that says, "Thursday nights, gay night."
Okay. All right. Wow.
So there we are in the middle of gay night, and we go, "Hey, we got to get out of here."
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with this.
Sure.
Just not my cup of tea or my
Yeah.
apple teeny.
Uh-huh. Wow.
We go to get Brandon X, and he goes, No, the drinks are free. I'm staying here at the bar.
I mean,
and we stayed there for another hour or so. And it was very nice, very, But
now, the only thing that I find to be sort of a fib is that the guy that gave you this passage didn't say, you especially want to come on Thursday. I could tell by looking at you. You're going to be a Thursday guy for sure. Wow. John McChesney. I hope none of this is like going to bring up some bad memories or some, I don't know, some sort of trauma with Aaron telling these stories. But let's talk about the potential trauma that I suffered this weekend.
Yeah.
In a death match for Ruthless Pro Wrestling. So
I can't believe you died on Saturday and you're here today. You're like Jesus.
Well, I've died.
You're like Jesus, just like Arrow.
I've died a few times. That time with our City.
Right.
Now we have this occasion, and
this is like Easter Monday that we're recording this.
Okay, so to set the table a little bit, obviously 440 has been a thing since 2019 when myself, Ricky Shane Page, and Atticus Cogar rode up on Nick Gage in, I believe it was Philadelphia, and we stole the GCW championship. We spray painted it, and we gained some members over the years. Originally, Eric Ryan, Eddie Only, it kept growing.
Oh,
Bobby
yeah. Is
Beverly.
Eric still part of it? Does he wrestle?
I don't know if he's wrestling as much anymore. There's a lot of things up in the air.
And what about the guy that does my tattoos? Does he wrestle still?
I just said Eddie Only.
Yeah.
He still wrestles on occasion, yeah.
Okay.
So there's been a lot of members filtering in and out, and particularly when there became this rift within 440 when Ricky, a selfish individual, decided that he didn't like other individuals getting the spotlight, and he decided that he had a problem with Atticus Cogar, and he decided he wanted to start his own 440, but there was behind-the-scenes tension where they both wanted to do 440, and it became two different colors, and there's been a lot of problems for a long time, and it was all culminating in this match this past Saturday where it's going to be Ricky, and I guess you might call it the Blue 440 with Vincent Nothing, who he used to team with as Faith in Nothing, Alice Crawley, Big Al, as some call her, and Christian Napier, who is also the cousin of the Cogars. And on my side, it was going to be team captain Atticus Cogar, myself, Otis Cogar, and my brother Zach Thomas. And
why do you guys have different last names?
That's a Zach decision. So it's, as it turns out, if you can't come up with a creative name for yourself, some wrestlers, not naming any names, Eric Ryan, and probably a variety of others, they just will call themselves by their first and middle name. So, yeah, anyways, there's a bunch of members of 440 now. We're going to pay it off in this death match. And then a lot of things changed all of a sudden when Ricky decided he was too hurt to wrestle in the match. And I'm sure a whole story about that will come out one day. He was too hurt to wrestle, and so he decided to announce it before the promotion or anybody from 440 could. And he left the match in a weird situation. A lot of fans were requesting refunds because of him not being in the match, because then that was followed by Atticus not being in the match, because it would have made no sense for 4 good guys to be against 3 bad guys, and so it was decided that they were going to put Atticus in another match defending the RPW championship. So that left us in a...
Who did he wrestle?
He ended up wrestling Hoodfoot, defending the championship on the show. And that left us in a situation where we now had a 6-on-6 all-out war death match between the remaining members of 440. But with the exception of Otis Cogar, I would argue that none of us are really death match wrestlers. So it became an interesting situation where it was like, well, we have to step up because this is the end. This is the end of 5 years of build, and really, 2 years of build, if you want to look at it like that, since Ricky and Atticus decided to part ways. And I don't know, I enjoy what I do as a performer, and I don't want to let people down. I want to give my best. I want to give my all. And so in my mind, two things. Not only do I want to give my best, but also I wouldn't say that chip is on my shoulder anymore that I had when I started in this business to just prove people wrong. But there are always going to be remnants of that chip where when put in certain situations, I go, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not just going to be Gregory Iron who could do this or do that. I'm multifaceted. I'm multi-talented, and the scenario that I'm in is the payoff to a multi-year feud, and it isn't a death match. So you know what? We are going to give the people what they want. And so we opened the show for RPW this past weekend, and
You opened with a death match?
well, there are other death matches on the show.
Oh,
And
I'm
so-
not criticizing. I'm just saying, oh, you opened with a death match. That's wild. I bet the people were like, what?
No, they weren't, because it's a death match show.
Okay.
But I think we had an advantage by being the first match on a deathmatch show. Clearly,
I would have, yes,
and
for sure wanted to be first.
so in my mind, it's like, okay, so and look, here's the thing too. I think people thought that this match was going to be less than because the known commodities in the deathmatch community were not in the match. I don't suppose you saw my go home promo that was posted that day. So every member of each respective version of 440 were posting their own promos, and I think I made a pretty solid argument for why you should watch the match. And my thought process was legitimately, and this is not some fucking wrestling interview. During the pandemic, I oftentimes thought about quitting wrestling because of Ricky Shane Page, and legitimately, there were so many times that he made comments about how we're all going to eat. We're all going to eat, and when it came time to talk to the camera, I thought about that. And a lot of the whole thing has been centered around manipulation, gaslighting. And it goes deeper than most people probably realize. And, one of the things that I said in this interview was, Ricky Shane Page talks about we're all going to eat. But Alice and Christian, I know that they feel like I felt they're starving. Because as long as you're around Ricky Shane Page, you can smell the food, but you can't touch the silverware. And in Vince's interview to the camera, he mentioned that he has a purpose, and he chooses for Ricky Shane Page to be his brother. And I questioned that purpose, and I said, do you serve a purpose, or do you purposely serve? So what it came down to is, I believe that in this match that was the only way that we could end everything, the purpose is for everything that we've done to be done once again, except for this time, we do it to each other. And in my mind and in my heart, when it was all said and done, I felt like there was going to be either one of two conclusions. Either it was going to be the beginning of the end, or it was going to be the end of all things to come. And I went out to that ring with the remnants of that chip on my shoulder, and I think everybody did in some way. And we went, I want to say around a half hour, opening the show, and by the very end, I was coated in blood, smothered in my own blood, more blood than I've ever bled out of my body, even more than in that, I would say, classic death match that I had with Ricky Shane Page back in 2017. There were dog collars utilized, there were knives utilized in this match, glass, doors, dog collars, a wide variety of items, and I think we told quite the story and everybody's talking about the finish to that match, and I don't think people expected me to be involved, and I don't think people expected me to be so goddamn bloody. The ending sequence, which ended me up in the hospital, was us handcuffing Vincent Nothing to the post because he's an animal. It's the only way to stop that motherfucker. I ended up pile driving Alice Crawley on her head in the thumbtacks. And then Christian was taken down with a pocket knife utilized by Otis Koger to cut him while he was on the top rope, a big suplex toss, and then we set up a door stacked up with a pane of glass over top of it. My brother Zach and Otis lifted him up for a last ride powerbomb, and as soon as he got lifted up to the peak height, I jumped off from the top rope. And if you watch the slow motion video on social media, which across all of my platforms right now, 24 hours later, sitting at about 32,000 views, I went for a crossbody. As I'm crossing my body, my foot kind of clipped Otis. The margin for error is small, especially when you're going through a pane of glass. I definitely got Christian Napier through the glass. However, didn't even realize it in the moment. Because when you're doing something like that, you don't think, or you're not going to do it, right? And so all I know is as I'm going, I feel glass, which I'm expecting. As soon as I land, I'm already bleeding buckets. I mean, it's all over my torso. And I was telling you, and then I guess the listeners can decide. I couldn't decide if it was Shawn Michaels 2003 Survivor Series-esque or John Cena Judgment Day 2005-esque. Two very legendary bloodbaths that they were involved with. One, of course, was in the Survivor Series match, and the other was with the JBL for the WWE Championship. When I sat up, it was almost instant that I felt... You okay there?
No.
You okay, buddy?
No.
You sick?
Yeah.
All right. Almost
At least I can't smell everything that you've been doing in my bathroom today.
Okay. As soon as I sat up from going through the glass, I popped up and I could just feel the warmth flowing over my body even more so. And as it turns out, it's because a shard of glass went right up into my hairline. And so as soon as I hit, boom, I popped up and just more blood was spewing out of me. And you've been in a few matches. Do you know that feeling when you're in the final moments and the pinfall goes down and when you realize, like, as the count is happening, like, I got through it.
Yeah.
It's over. I had that feeling, but, like, it was like a different feeling because the crowd was so behind the match. There were so many moments in the match where, like, for a half hour, we never lost them.
Right.
And in that moment, as the count is happening, and I know that once the 3 hits were done, and the warmth of the blood is covering my face and my chest and my stomach and my legs. It was like a euphoric feeling that I can't explain. And it was like the best feeling I've ever had to the end of a match. I know that probably sounds weird.
Yeah.
But, and then, it ends. The crowd's going crazy. We stand up, and then there's this moment at the end of the match. And Vince, I'm not going to say what he said now, but Vince said something to Atticus, who came out. And, like, I'll say this. I'll share this part. Atticus comes in the ring. And when it's over, like, I literally can't see out of my left eye, okay? And I'm concerned that there might be glass in it. Am I blind? I don't know. Atticus comes in the ring and he hugs Zach, myself, and Otis. And he says, "You guys fucking killed it. That was amazing." And that was a good feeling because I felt it in that moment. But it was, like, not something he was saying because... he had to say it. Like, it felt very genuine. And then Vince said something to Atticus. And then when that was done, he unexpectedly, along with Al and Christian, took off their blue bandanas and laid him in the ring. And I don't know. I think we were kind of all on the same page. And Otis looked at me and Zach looked at me. and Otis took off his shirt and laid it down, and Zach took off his armband. Otis took off his armband. They laid it down, and then it was just me and Addy in the ring. Out of this whole match, everybody on the show, we're the two OGs of 440, right? We're two of the guys that started it, and I tell you, Aaron,
I have a cold right now. I'm not crying.
He does have a cold. So as I'm staring at Atticus, it's just me and him. The crowd is up. They're up even higher, and they start chanting Greg, 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 Greg. And as it's happening, I can't even. I haven't seen the footage back. I can't even imagine what Addy is seeing and thinking, because I know what I'm feeling, and blood is still spurting out of my body and down my face as I'm standing there.
Yeah.
So it's got to look insane. And again, I can only see out of one eye, but if it wasn't for the blood that was blocking my tear ducts, I'm pretty positive I would have cried.
Yeah.
And I felt what the other guys were feeling in that moment, and I just looked at Addy and I said, "I love you, man, but I'm sorry." And I took off the armband and I laid it in the ring. And as I'm leaving, I look back, and Atticus is in the ring, and he picks up the armbands, and he takes a second, he took a shirt off, and he laid it in the ring. So I've had a lot of great moments in wrestling. I'm very proud of what I did on Saturday, as crazy and as dumb as some of it was. It's important to tell a good story to me, and I only do these things when it matters, and I feel like we were put in a situation where I think people didn't have much expectations for it. So for me, I'm like, fuck that. Like, we're going to exceed these expectations. We're going to make people forget that, some motherfucker didn't want to come to the show and do what was supposed to be done.
Right.
And we're going to make them remember this ending. And I've had a lot of cool moments in that building, the Berwyn Eagles Club. And I would say that it's in the top three,
Yeah.
in no particular order. Me, Punk, Cabana, a few months back, winning tag team championships with my brother. And I got to say, this is up there. Basically, closing this chapter of this book, of this part of my life, and having a dramatic and fitting ending to something that has been a large part of not only our lives, but for independent wrestling, particularly during a time when the world was shut down. We were able to bring some sort of levity to that situation, keep people's mind off all the bullshit that was happening. I'm very proud of what was done with 440, despite the negative bullshit that many people didn't get to see. And it's not on IWTV right now because there were audio issues during the live stream. However, if you did watch the live stream and you did hear that there were issues, never fear. The audio is fine. It's being re-edited. It's going to be uploaded. And I don't go back and watch a lot of my stuff. But when this gets up sometime this week, I'm going to go back and watch it. And I'm going to overanalyze some stuff. But in general, I'm very happy. And I did spend some time in the hospital, very depleted of some things that I probably needed in my body, particularly blood.
Semen.
Well, that was not an issue.
Urine?
Didn't hurt my penis. No. But
You didn't piss yourself?
There are many wounds on my face because, again, if you watch a slow motion video, which I didn't realize until I watched the video that was put up, my face goes directly through the glass, and the fact that I still have my vision is probably a miracle. And also, which I didn't even notice, if you go back and watch the video, I kicked my own ass on the way down.
Yeah.
The way that I fell, my left leg pops up and kicks me in the ass. So I was wondering why my butt cheek was hurting so much.
Right.
It was probably from that. So.
Or it was from the last Monday you were over here.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay, wow, that's a lot of soreness then.
Well, I got
So
a
listen,
lot of
death
raw
matches,
dogging.
death matches aren't my cup of tea, and maybe they're not your cup of tea either. But I would say if you are not a death match person, I would say that if you have the ability to watch this on IWTV, or we will be putting it up on Patreon as soon as it goes up, so you can just watch it over on Patreon for $5. I think we told a story. We built the things that mattered, and I don't know. Overall, I'm happy. Your thoughts on the stupidity of what I've done this weekend?
I watched it several times. There's several postings of it online. You going through look like a window.
Pane of glass, yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's why they call it window pane.
Yeah, well.
So I saw you hit your face. I said, I'm a little concerned that he's got some mat burn, maybe little raspberries and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought that could push glass deeper into your head than maybe what you had anticipated. Looking at you right now, you just took the bandages off that you had on, and you look like a freak.
Well, there were a lot of shards of glass pulled out of my face, and obviously that should be anybody's concern, but the thing is, I already have a lot of insecurities about my face and scarring, and my one concern when I stood up, as cool as it felt, with the blood over me and with the crowd cheering for me, I thought to myself, boy, I hope I don't have some hideous wounds on my head for the rest of my life, and I'm going to have at least a couple, and there's some scraping on my arms, but I think I'll be just fine. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know how hard my face hit the mat. Like I was there the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Well, artistically, I think that you were fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so, to me, that's probably the most important part.
Is it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend anybody else do what we did in that match, though.
No.
You got to make it make sense, and I would say this is probably one of 8, maybe 9 times in 18 years that I've bled, and obviously this is the worst I've bled, and I'm just thankful to be here, and I don't know why this is something that I feel that I need to do. I guess it's artistic fulfillment, but also, again, I say it in a joke, but I'm half serious when I say it. A lot of things I went through as a kid, a lot of physical and emotional trauma that I had to endure, and then you get into wrestling and you realize real quick that if you are dedicated enough, you're going to encounter some situations where you have to endure incredible physical and emotional trauma, and sometimes you do that so that the viewer, the person in the crowd, the person at home watching, you take away their pain for a little bit, because I was that kid, I was that adult that needed my pain taken away at various times, and I guess that's really the only clear explanation. Like, outside of that, it's hard
So you inflict pain on yourself as an adult to relieve the pain that was being inflicted on you as a child. Isn't that strange?
It is.
How we all kind of do that are in this business.
That's the only halfway logical explanation to it, right? Because, again, also, as someone that's never done drugs, it sounds so generic, but it's like, you can't. I want to say that while I got paid well this weekend, there's no correct monetary value that you could put on what I did this weekend, but the feeling after, the adulation after, you can't put a price tag on that, and it's something that I will remember to the day that I actually die, and hopefully not in a death match in front of a crowd, because that would be awkward, to say the least, and probably scar a lot of people that witness that, honestly. I don't think anybody thinks about that when, like, someone like Ric Flair says, I'd like to die in the ring. Like, what about the people in the crowd that will see that and have to live with that forever? That's pretty horrible. So I say all this, and I want to ask you, if you were to artistically think about one thing or a couple of things that rank up there as, like, something you did in wrestling that, like, you're super proud of or that you want to be remembered for, what would you say that is, Aaron?
Well, I would say my greatest moment in the ring
It's going to be something stupid. I see it in your face right now. Go ahead. Say it.
was when I shared a ring with you, Greg.
Okay. See, stupid and a
And
lie.
you knocked me out, and you and Johnny pinned me
You got to go
in
back.
the middle of a prison.
You got to go back to that, huh? Just let
Why?
it go, man.
What? No, not because you knocked me out.
Oh, okay.
Because I felt like we accomplished a lot, and I got to share the ring with two professionals that I respect.
And then afterwards, all those sex offenders that walked up to you and murderers and just many convicted convicts are just like, thank you so much for what you did today.
Yeah.
That made you feel fulfilled, huh?
Being able to have the pleasure of being in the ring with you guys, you especially.
Now, if you could give
someone I've always looked up to.
If you could give a serious answer, what would it be?
I actually really had fun with that. So,
Okay.
but I think most of my stuff will be backstage stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like little things that I added to people's promos, or something like giving Lewis Linden the chance to talk.
Yeah.
Because him and Flip were together, and we just couldn't get a promo right one time. And then finally I was like, hold on, what? Why don't we switch it? Let's let Lewis do all the talking, and Flip just come in at the end and say he's going to flip the script, son.
Which was great.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I'm going to flip the script, son.
Yeah. It was like, okay, that's what was missing. It was just like little things you have to figure out.
Or him just stealing ladies' man lines and saying, can I offer you dudes a fish sandwich?
Yeah.
So good.
Handling wrestlers. We did a whole episode on that before, but handling, because I don't think that there were a lot of people that could be trusted to spend a weekend with New Jack on a couple different occasions.
No.
You know what I mean?
When you say trusted, it's not that you couldn't be. I think it would be more accurate to say, like, perhaps in the state you were in, you shouldn't be trusted to return New Jack from doing all the questionable things he was doing along with him.
Yeah.
Because I think there could have been someone that was trying to handle him, but I think because
it wouldn't have worked.
Because you were willing to go along with everything that he was doing, I think that's why it worked.
Yes. Same thing with, with Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean? Like, we had already gotten many calls that people were going to be stalking outside the building. And, they had to put with somebody who could be trusted to be around her and not mark out or not be a creep.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I was given that responsibility, and it worked perfectly.
Guy. Yeah, you were that guy.
So, booking decisions, meetings, booking meetings. Those are all things that I'm probably most proud of. Well, anything in the ring, I don't know. That's all just fun.
Well, let me ask you this, because for me, when I think of you, I know you most for your commentary, and I would always pop for your commentary, especially when you did PWO and Prime.
Yeah.
Because I think you added to the story, especially for a product that was being presented on TV. Is there a line or a match that stands out to you? Where
you know what I used to always say that I liked? I would get the most feedback, and people saying they were looking forward to this person's matches the most, and it was what we kind of thought was a throwaway character, Dan Arkham.
Bat
I
Dan.
started calling him Bat Dan.
Yeah.
And people started saying that was what they were looking forward to. I'm going to watch the show this week because I heard Dan Arkham wrestles.
Well, and so here's the thing. Dan is a great guy.
Yeah.
And Dan, in real life, you wouldn't have thought it. And I would argue that in like 2009, for a guy who was in his 40s at that point, you wouldn't think it wouldn't have been cool for a guy who was his age to be like, I love superheroes and I love Disney.
Yeah.
And Dan was always that guy. In fact, shout out to a guy who's like, not only did he get to live his dream as a wrestler for a little bit, the dude's dream was to work at Disney.
Yeah.
He works at Disney now. Like fucking living his dream and just like.
And I made that happen.
I don't know if you made that happen, but like you definitely added to it, and you made people look forward to characters that perhaps maybe weren't supposed to be not the star of the show, but you made them, you accentuated them and made them a highlight. I think you did that for Dan Arkham. I think you did that for Ben Fruth. I think you did that for Mr. RBI, guys that were just lower on the card, but like it made that just as important as what you're going to see in the main event.
Right, because
Johnny
maybe you were
M-Dog
looking forward to watching them wrestle like you were Johnny Gargano or M-Dog Matt Cross or Josh Prohibition. But you were looking forward to hearing what I was going to say about a Bat Dan or a Mr. RBI or a Pit Stop Donuts commercial. They never close.
They never close except for when they burn down to the ground. And then you have to close the facility and then never open it again.
Joke's over.
Anyways, well, I don't know. Unless you have something else you want to say about all this ridiculousness, you want to take some questions and then maybe wrap up the show? Okay, let's do it. All right, we're going to start with a question from Eric from Patreon.com. Who has the best spear in all the business? Edge, Goldberg, Roman, Batista, Hulk Hogan, Johnny Gargano, or Big Justice? Okay.
Oh, I'm going, I guess I'll go Big Justice. It almost cut a man in half.
I don't think that's true. Also, why is Hulk Hogan in that list?
Because Hulk Hogan probably at one point said he invented the spear.
Okay, I can believe that. I'm going to have to say Goldberg. I feel like it was always the most devastating looking spear.
Yeah, because it was real.
Well, yeah, it's been hard to replicate.
Hey, and why is Rhino not on that list?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Oh, because he did the gore, not the spear.
Yeah. If it's good, it's the gore. If it's bad, that one was the spear. That's what Terry always says. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Okay. I believe it. He also told you make your bed every morning.
He did say that.
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo. Jason Perrier over on Patreon says, "Is there a match you will say no to?" Well, I think Eric had the right idea below him when he said hotel ones. Yeah, I've never agreed to a hotel match like that one that.
What was that guy? He really wanted to get you in that room.
Yeah. Hold on. Why is his name escaping right now? Perhaps
just
maybe
let it be gone out of your mind.
Yeah.
But there was a fan that used to, in earlier episodes, Greg reads.
Yes. He has cerebral palsy and wants to have a hotel bed match with me. So I think I would say no to that. Outside of that,
Sounds like Hotel Havoc. That could be a pay-per-view.
I don't know if I don't know if I'd want to do like your standard death match, as weird as that sounds, as I just talked about mainly doing a death match in this podcast. I structured the death match in a way that we told a story and we weren't abusing things like light tubes and pains and like everything had a purpose and a reason. So I think a standard death match, a death match in which there's expectations for, like again, go back and watch me and Nick Gage. There is brutality in it, but I wouldn't say that it is your typical run-of-the-mill death match per se.
Yeah.
There was a story to it. So, I think if someone wanted me in like some crazy death match, it's not happening. It's got to make sense. Robert Wells, he's not on Patreon. We'll come back to that. Juan Ortiz says, with all the Pokemon talk, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, baby.
Why are you not giving respect to the superior monster show, Digimon? Well, I do know the Digimon theme song, but also, again, I didn't like Pokemon, so I didn't watch Digimon. I always just thought Digimon was a Pokemon ripoff, and so I didn't give it the time of day. And I'm positive that Aaron knows nothing about Digimon.
I know nothing about Digimon.
There
I
you
know
go.
Pokemon because Pokemon Go, and my kid wanted to get involved in Pokemon Go, and he was too young to have his own phone, so I downloaded it onto my phone, and I figured that was a way we could get out and start walking together. Mm-hmm. And I love Pokemon Go. Hey, did you happen to see what I caught over the weekend?
No, because I don't care, but go ahead.
Yeah, the studded jacket Snorlax.
Wow.
But not just the studded jacket Snorlax, the shiny version. Thanks to Big Freaky for inviting me to his raid.
Compelling stuff. Eric left us a video from Donald Trump.
11 11 shinies over the weekend.
No
This was the best weekend for Pokemon Go. The Go Wild event. I went wild.
You want to hear what this video is from Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Let's see what he has to say.
Well, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure.
You might have to hit the dump button or something.
Well, let's see what it says.
Aaron got a beautiful Snorlax over the weekend. Some say it's
Oh,
quite
fuck.
large. You know what else is large on Aaron? Both you and me been in the locker room with him, and they all like to say, wow, what a big Snorlax. I miss you, Greg. Come back to Washington.
Okay, you know what? I hate AI. It is terrifying.
What do you mean?
I don't know why that is a thing that exists in this
I
world.
can't believe he paid for a cameo from Trump.
Josh Excellent says, when you first realized that you liked Aaron more than a friend, did you feel it more in your heart or your dingling?
Oh, hold on. It should be pronounced dang-a-lang.
I would say my heart. What about you, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely my heart. My dingling, it does nothing when you're around. But go limp.
Okay.
Like, it was hard, and then you came through the door just now,
Yeah.
and I just lost it right then and there.
Interesting. Juan
In
Ortiz,
front of all these people.
Juan Ortiz also said, what was your reaction when you saw Paul White walk the Rizzler down the ramp and the reaction he got?
Forgot to mention how that was the moment of the year for me, I think.
The moment of the year,
Yeah.
like in wrestling, or
Yeah.
just like the whole year, like your whole entire year, bigger than anything your children did. This would be the moment of the year for you.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh boy, that's sad.
Hey, and I thought Paul White should have been in it more. I thought he should have got his knockout punch in.
Yeah, I didn't really understand
On those dudes, those security dudes.
Yeah, I guess the purpose was to just have him do commentary, but again,
but he was probably out there to protect the boy.
Oh, okay. Eric, I believe, is asking a legitimate question here. Do you feel AEW lacks a strong babyface? They all have these big heel factions and not a number one face in the company. I would agree with that. I do think they need a big babyface. I mean, especially right now where it's like you're trying to create this threat with Jon Moxley and his stable and some supposed threat of a takeover, even though we sort of had that a few months back with the Young Bucks and it went nowhere.
And then also with somebody before that, too. Blackpool Combat Club was going to take over. Because remember, they were heels
Yeah.
for a little bit, and then they were faces again. The Don Callis family, they were taking over.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that your best bet would probably be a returning Kenny Omega, but I would have argued that if you kept MJF babyface, that he could have been a guy to oppose Moxley, maybe.
Well, yeah, he's got the tattoo of AEW on his foot to prove it.
Yeah. He did that only to swerve people to say that, I hate you guys anyways. So that's a weird thing to do. I would say Kenny Omega is probably your only logical choice. I mean, you haven't built anybody else up. Again, Orange Cassidy needs to shift gears to be a top guy. Also, I just can't imagine, like, if you're promoting their WrestleMania type show All In, I can't imagine Orange Cassidy being the center guy. And I think that's what you think about. Like, I think there was a chance with Adam Cole. Adam Cole has been like in a creative rut lately, and I don't think he's been giving his best work, if I'm being honest. Perhaps maybe there's something with Ricochet if they were.
See, I was going to say, I thought Ricochet could head up something, but no, because he's already lost it.
I think
like
outside
whatever was there is already gone. I have no desire to see Ricochet on their show.
I think I think maybe the other obvious one is probably Will Ospreay. There's something that the crowd feels compelling about Ospreay. He's an incredible athlete. I could see him on a poster. I would say the only. I
got Bobby Lashley in the Hurt faction.
As a babyface, though?
Yeah, down the road. I mean, they change babyface to heel
sure,
like every couple weeks.
I could see them be. I mean, they're getting cheers already because it seems to be the most legitimate act in the company. So I don't know, and I don't know if that's with them getting creative input or if it's just that WWE stinge on them. Stink. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not even a stink. It's a good smell.
Stench.
Yeah.
Smell.
The WWE. The WWE rub.
Taste.
There you go. So yeah, I don't know. I think you got Bobby Lashley as a potential, Will Ospreay,
Dude,
Kenny
you
Omega.
see, here's what I could see. You could do the whole Hurt business, but since they're not AEW originals,
Yeah.
That kind of takes away from it. But if you put Swerve in there, so him and Bobby end up coming to like a handshake at the pinnacle of their feud,
Yeah.
and they have a working agreement.
Oh yeah. So we just have Swerve switch back to babyface again.
He is babyface.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know. I can't keep up with this. Like at the end of the show, like we'll talk about it, but like for a second you think Hangman Page is like being a heel aligning with Jon Moxley, but then he gets fucked off, and then Jay White comes out there who was a heel for a while. Now he's a babyface, and just maybe I got to follow the show more, but I just can't keep track of any of these things. It's because it's just they do the Big Show Kane heel face turn with these characters far too often. It's just hard to stay up to date.
You could throw in Powerhouse Hobbs with him too. You had mentioned adding him to the Hurt business or Hurt Syndicate.
You should just do more with Powerhouse Hobbs in general. I don't think you necessarily have to put him with the fucking Hurt Syndicate. Like,
I'm just saying, what a dominant faction that would be if you want somebody to take down the Death Riders.
Yeah.
You know what I would love is eventually when Swerve and Adam Page put their differences aside, and then they team to take out the Moxley boys.
Yeah, they should do that odd couple pairing, and then like a couple months after that, they should do a storyline where like one of them turns on the other, but then one of them leaves for a little bit, and then they switch who is the babyface and who's the heel, despite one having very heel motives for what he did and make him the babyface. It would be. They kind of did that already without teaming them. Actually,
yeah. I think one will stick a syringe in the other one's mouth.
Justin Bonifield says, "What are your top 3 bands right now? Do you or have you ever played an instrument?" So I'll tell you the last part first. I spoke about it a little bit before. So in elementary school, so I didn't have to go home, I would sign up for pretty much every after-school class that I could, every like elective. So I was in art club, which I liked. I was in creative writing, which I liked. I was in drama, which I liked. But then I started like signing up for other things just not to go home, so, like music, which I was not good, or instrumental. And when I signed up for instrumental, I think the thing that was going to be easiest for me, I thought, was the flute. So I tried to play the flute, and I just couldn't get the blowing correct with it, because there's a certain way you put your lips on the flute, and I couldn't grasp it very well. So that's how that went. Go ahead, go ahead, make your joke there.
Doing that.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Did you ever play an instrument?
Whatever the thing was that was required you do in like the 3rd grade or whatever.
So the recorder.
The recorder, there it is.
That does not even count.
Yeah, no.
Anybody can play the recorder. And it's a sucky instrument.
And I don't even know that I played that well. And I think I'm the only person to ever get banned from choir.
What'd you do?
I just always fucked around.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so I didn't take it seriously. And then the next year, I didn't realize this because I want to say I was a sophomore. So my junior year, all my friends were going to go to the next level choir because they were all good with singing, but I was just goofy all the time, make jokes and stuff. I know you can't believe that, but seriously. So when I showed up for the tryouts, because I didn't know you were going to have to try out to get into choir the next year.
Yeah.
And when I showed up for tryouts, the teacher said, "Well, what are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, I want to be in choir next year." And she said, "You don't even sing when you're here now." So that she made me try out, and she played something on the piano, and I was so bad. I know I was the worst of all time. And she gave me about 4 or 5 seconds, which was probably still 2 seconds too many.
Yeah, like most of the women you've been with.
Oh.
3 current bands that I'm into right now. I think first 2 would be easy. And I go...
Creed?
No, I would say, like, I think he's talking, like, more current bands.
Okay.
Like, Creed exists currently.
Yeah.
But bands that I would actually go see and that I have gone see in the last few years, easily I would say Real Friends and State Champs. I really love pretty much everything from their catalog. And I guess they're not the most current, but they're still actively doing music and stuff. I would say A Day to Remember because I listen to them a lot. And what I like about A Day to Remember is like a lot of their songs are about being a traveling band and life on the road and stuff. And I've always said being a musician, being in a band is very comparable to being a professional wrestler. So lately, as I've been traveling more again, I've been listening to a lot of their stuff, and it gets me pretty emotional because I think of the places I've gone and the things I've seen and how I wouldn't have done it without wrestling, and how, sometimes doing this, you have to leave behind your friends and family because they would never understand what you're doing, because most people who've never bothered to pursue a creative endeavor that at first garners you little to no money and is more of just a hobby than anything else, it's hard for them to grasp the idea that you would put yourself out there with the potential to lose money, to fail at the thing that you're striving for. And I don't know, it takes a lot of courage to go towards a dream. And I don't know, I've just been getting really emotional lately listening to A Day to Remember. So that's where I'm at on that. 3 bands that you're listening to currently, Aaron.
Run the Jewels.
Okay.
Czarface.
Okay.
So you probably know those bands because I screenshot you their lyrics all the time.
A lot of wrestling lyrics in them.
Yeah. One talks about the vein in Kurt Angle's head, which I just recently sent you.
So random.
Yeah, like it's not just like I'll suplex you, bitch. It's talking about the vein in Kurt Angle's head.
Yeah.
I love that. Also, in Czarface, they talk about putting you in a Cobra clutch, and the other one was they put you in a sleeper hold like Adrian Adonis. Mm-hmm. Good night, Irene.
So good.
Yeah. So anyway, those are those 2, and then I don't know if I have how about Coldplay?
Coldplay.
Is that a new band?
I wouldn't say it's a newer band, but we'll go with it. I took some. I did some stretching with A Day to Remember there, so we will go with that. Did you like the Coldplay music video back in the day when they did that for Kurt Angle upon his return in 2003?
Yeah,
Clocks.
I love that song. I like Coldplay. I don't know why. I just do. So,
our good friend Jim Blaylock says, "Are you currently happy?" I would say very much so. Yeah, I'm not so much happy about the glass in my head, but otherwise I am happy. Aaron, you?
Yeah, I'm happy, but I'm happy that we heard from Jim Blaylock because I thought of him over the weekend as I took my client to go see the movie Wicked at the Regal Cinemas that Jim used to have us as guests at.
Yes, very kind of him that we got to see Rocky or the Creed films because of Jim. So shout out to Jim.
Hey, also, I don't know if he knew this or not, but. And I don't know if our people know this or not, but Greg, before he got the hookup from Jim, used to come up to the movie theaters and limp and show his gimp arm so he could get in for free.
Well, I told you not to talk about that.
Oh, and then so that they wouldn't look in his fanny pack where he would store energy drinks.
Okay, so if you work at a theater, just know that I don't do that anymore, and I'm definitely not smuggling energy drinks and or protein snacks in my fanny pack, so no need to look there.
Also, in all fairness, you don't pay for your movies anymore either. Johnny kind of rents out the theater.
I still pay for a movie on occasion.
Yeah.
Kurt D over on Facebook says, "What do you think the impact of the 440 will have on future wrestling stories? Do you expect it to be fully replicated by others at some point, maybe with a twist?" So, I got a lot of kind messages about everything that culminated this weekend and 440 memories, which I appreciate. I know if you guys are messaging the guys, I'm sure they appreciate too. Because I'm in it, I don't know if I look at an impact that we made per se, other than what I will say that it's made 440 unique and different is the promos and the way that they were very cinematic in nature. And I would probably say the only other people that were doing cinematic promos when 440 started doing them was, I think, Janela. I would say Joey Janela was the first indie guy to do cinematic promos, and that's because he had the brain trust known as Giancarlo doing them with him, who, of course, now works for AEW. He did stuff for WWE for a long time. And I think that was sort of I think Joey Janela should get credit for that as an individual, but as a group, going outside the box and doing it on our own without a professional cinematographer, I would say 440. And honestly, Atticus Cogar should have more credit than he gets for the success of 440. If there is no Atticus Cogar, there is no 440. Plain and simple. That's the way that it is, and I'm sticking by that. Do I expect it to be fully replicated by others at some point? I think if people are smart, they would film more cinematic style promos. More guys and gals have been incorporating that, very much so. In fact, I want to give a shout out to someone that I stumbled across due to their, I wouldn't say cinematic, but the way it's edited. You can't really say that they're not using a super high quality camera. Erica Demia and her dad, who she teams with, the Legend of Solar, who they've done an incredible series of vignettes across social media and particularly on Instagram, where I stumbled upon them. A lot of influence from Legend of Zelda, a lot of nerdy influences that I really appreciate. Very well done, very organic, natural, funny, and they're both actually really good wrestlers as well. So, I think that the cinematic style of promos are going to only increase within indie wrestling, and obviously it's been growing in the major companies as well, pretty much since the pandemic. I think it was one of those things where, again, one of the bright spots to come out of COVID-19 was it encouraged us to try some different stuff, and I think the cinematic style promos really stuck, and I'm glad that 440 in some way on the independent level could be some sort of influence with that. What else do we have here before we wrap up? Maybe take one or two more.
How about that one from Jake?
He asked that last week. I told him that. He asked the question last week.
I saw.
I answered it.
Oh, okay.
Go back last week.
Nobody listened last week because I wasn't on.
You son of a...
And then what about somebody asked us our favorite Billy Joel songs?
I answered that too.
Oh,
but I would say I'm not a huge Billy Joel guy, but it's pretty easy to go. We Didn't Start the Fire, and I like the cover by Fall Out Boy. Do you have a choice you want to make? A choice or two or three?
Oh, I like all. I celebrate the man's entire collection catalog.
You're a lot like what's his face on The Boys.
Yeah,
he's a big Billy Joel guy.
Oh yeah, right. I love seeing that shirt that he had. I think Billy Joel is a great lyricist. When you said, what was the song you said? We Didn't Start the Fire. Mm-hmm. That was brilliant. I think way ahead of its time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I like Pressure.
Pressure is a good one.
Yeah. Because listen to the story of that.
I'll go back and listen.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Okay.
Not quoting Stain.
Oh, that was a good song. Hey, can I put them in my top three?
Stained?
Yeah.
Sure. Eddie Enginger says, will we ever see the Handicap Heroes reunite? Yeah, I think so. We've been doing a lot of things separately, but every now and again, at least I feel like once a year it calls for a Handicap Heroes reunion. And again, if there isn't Zach Gowen, there's no Gregory Iron. So I'm always down to team with Zach. He's still wrestling at a high level when he does wrestle. And I don't know. He's my boy. He's an inspiration to me. And I think together we've inspired a lot of people. So it'd be a tragedy if we didn't get to see the Handicapped Heroes back in action. And there's a few more questions, but I think we should wrap it up.
All right.
What say you? Are you okay with that?
I'm ready.
It's been a good show today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to hear more about the 440 Deathmatch, we're going to talk about it on Patreon. We're also going to talk about Survivor Series this Saturday. We're going to preview that. We're going to talk about Full Gear. We're going to talk about some of the wrestling happenings that we didn't cover the last week or so. By the way, let me just ask you a question personally before we wrap up. Tyson and Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Work or shoot?
A work shoot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you saw, but everybody that had asked for predictions, I went on their comments and said it was going to go the distance. And that, because Mike Tyson was not going to lose
Yeah.
outright.
Sure.
So it was all wrestling to me.
Yeah, I felt the same thing.
The realest thing was the slap the night before or whenever they did the weigh-in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
So it went exactly how I thought. There was no way that Tyson, at this point in his life, was going to stay up with Logan Paul's brother.
Yeah. And also, I mean, like, you got to, listen, take the payday. You know what I mean? I'll work or fight for a payday.
For sure. And then the interview with the 13-year-old girl, did you see that?
That is my favorite part of the whole thing. I've watched that so many times.
But I knew
laughed.
at that point that Tyson wasn't winning.
Oh, that gave it away for you.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck about a legacy?
Yep.
You're dead. And then the girl, being the utmost professional for 13, goes, you know what? I've never looked at it from that perspective. And so now I have a gift for you. It's just like, what the fuck, man? It's so good. Like, he forgot he was talking to a child. Good stuff. Yeah, definitely was a work for sure, though. And a lot of people bought into it. And they were mad, like, I can't, that fight sucked. Like, what were you thinking? It's a spectacle.
Plus, went to that real long shot of his ass. He was like in Rikishi-looking gear.
So weird.
And people kept having problems with Netflix, and it froze. I had zero issues with it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't watch it live,
why. Maybe it's because I pay for an extremely good service.
Okay. Well, I'm going to guess that the people that actually pay for Netflix, they were one of 60 million homes watching it at that time. So I would imagine most live streaming services are not fully prepared for 60 million people to be using their service at once. So I'm going to guess that's the issue. I don't know. But that's it for this week. Tune in to Patreon for more bonus stuff. And make sure you follow us on social media at Iron and Wrestling. Follow me. I'm on social media at Gregory Iron on Twitter, Gregory_Iron on Instagram, Facebook.com/The Handicapped Hero. You can message me for pro wrestling motivational speaking or pro wrestling seminars. I will get back to you as soon as possible. And make sure you check out ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron for my t-shirts. You can also check out Cameo if you would like to get a shout-out from me of some sort. And just FYI, a lot of those Gregory Iron shirts over on the Pro Wrestling Tees, they are out of print, and the prices have not raised since I uploaded them to Pro Wrestling Tees many, many years ago. So you're getting them for a steal. Do that before I change the prices in the new year. So ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron to get a good deal, especially for the holidays. And for those asking, I do have a few more Gregory Iron Pile Driver Pals left in stock. Message me directly, and we will get those out to you as soon as possible. Aaron, what would you like to plug?
I'm on Blue Sky.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm on Blue Sky.
I'm on Blue Sky?
Fresh air.
AAR?
Yep.
Okay. All right, follow you on Blue Sky. How
Yeah,
many
that's
followers
all
you
I
got?
want to do right now is just put that out there.
Is it cool?
I don't know. I haven't followed anyone yet.
Okay.
I'm just getting there.
Gotcha. All right, well, until next week, thanks for listening to episode...
Oh, I follow Joe Dombrowski. He's the only person I found that I know that's on it. So.
I gotcha. All right, well, this was episode 269, and that's it. We're done. So should we kiss goodbye, or should we do something else because of the name of the episode?
Oh, yeah. You mean like,
Yeah, like that on each other.
All right, here we go.
Whoa, wait, what? No, stop. All right, hold on. All right.
Who's daddy?
What a weird way to end the show. Bye.